The day my neighbor called 911 over my guest room. Have you ever faced a moment so bizarre, so utterly detached from reason, that you wondered if you'd slipped into a parallel universe? Picture this, a quiet Tuesday afternoon, the kind where the world feels orderly and predictable, shattered by a phone call that turns your reality upside down. That's exactly what happened to me. Henry Brooks, a 68-year-old retired structural engineer living in a peaceful suburb of Richmond, Virginia. My story isn't just about a neighbor's delusion, it's about the slow burn of harassment, the sting of prejudice, and the quiet triumph of logic over chaos. Stick with me, because this tale has twists that'll make your jaw drop. It began with a call from a 911 dispatcher, her voice calm but tinged with confusion. "Sir, can you confirm your address at 2314 Maple Lane?" I did, my tone steady as always. I'm a man of precision blueprints, calculations, and facts are my language. "We have a caller, a Ms. Margaret Wheeler, reporting a trespassing and housing dispute at your address." I glanced out my window. There, on my pristine Bermuda grass, stood Margaret, a woman in her late 60s with hair like overbleached straw, dressed in a lavender suit, as if she were chairing a country club meeting. Beside her were two suitcases and a floral tote bag, parked defiantly on my walkway. "A housing dispute?" I asked, my grip tightening on the phone. The dispatcher sighed, the sound of someone who'd seen it all. "She claims you offered her a room, but it's sure words unacceptably small and unfit for a woman of my stature. She's demanding an officer to enforce her residency." The world tilted. My guest room? Too small. I hadn't offered her anything. Margaret lived 3 houses down in a perfectly fine split-level home. This wasn't a misunderstanding, was a full-blown delusion, and it had been building for months. Let's rewind. I moved to Maple Lane in 2022, seeking solitude after my wife, Clara, passed away. A modest brick rancher with a sprawling backyard for my vegetable garden suited me perfectly. I'm a black man in a mostly white neighborhood, but I've always believed in minding my own business. My days were simple, tending my tomatoes, reading Civil War histories, and playing poker with my friend Tom on Thursdays. Enter Margaret Wheeler, a former HOA president who treated the neighborhood like her personal fiefdom. Our first encounter set the tone. She showed up with a watery chicken casserole, her eyes scanning my foyer like a health inspector. "I'm Margaret Wheeler," she declared, "and I ran this neighborhood for 15 years. We have standards here. Your lawn needs watering before 8 a.m., and trash cans must be in by 6 p.m. I smiled politely, but her tone wasn't neighborly, it was a warning. I tossed the casserole after one bite, my first misstep in her eyes. Margaret's campaign began subtly. Notes on my windshield complained about my noisy leaf blower, used at 11 a.m. on a Saturday. She tooted about my mailboxes, non-compliant, navy blue color, despite the street sporting a rainbow of mailbox hues. Whispers spread. "Henry's packages are suspicious," she'd say, though I only ordered books and fertilizer. Her glances carried a sharper edge, a resentment that I, a black widower, dared to live well in her neighborhood. The real trouble started when she overheard me on my patio, chatting with my son, James, about his family's upcoming visit. "The guest room's all yours," I'd said, joking about its luxury status for my grandkids. To Margaret, eavesdropping from her yard, this was an invitation. In her mind, I was advertising a vacant suite, and she was the ideal tenant. Her behavior grew stranger. She left a typed letter in my mailbox. "Dear Mr. Brooks, I accept your offer of residency. I'll oversee property standards in lieu of rent. Please schedule an inspection of the suite." She measured my lawn's drainage, stared at my house for hours, and let her yappy terrier relieve itself on my property. I installed security cameras, capturing her muttering about our agreement while pacing her yard. My friend Tom, a retired attorney, warned me. "She's not just annoying, she's unhinged. Keep documenting. Let her expose herself." The climax came that fateful Tuesday. Margaret arrived with her luggage, ringing my doorbell like a debt collector. "Henry, I'm moving in," she announced. I stayed calm, refusing her entry. "There's no agreement, Margaret. You need to leave." Her face reddened, and she shrieked. "You're breaking our contract. I have rights." Neighbors peeked out as she accused me of discrimination, her words dripping with racial venom. Then, she dialed 911, screaming about illegal eviction. The police arrived, and Officer Daniels mediated. Margaret ranted about her royal suite, while I showed him my camera footage and her letter. "Ma'am, this is private property," he said. "You're trespassing." Defeated, she dragged her suitcases away, shooting me a look of pure malice. Daniels suggested a restraining order, but I knew that wouldn't fix her fractured reality. I needed a permanent solution, one as precise as a bridge design. Anger wouldn't do, logic would. Research revealed Margaret's son, Edward Wheeler, a corporate lawyer in Arlington. A man of his stature would care about his mother's public meltdown. I crafted an email, measured and factual, attaching key evidence: her patio rant, her letter, and footage of her luggage stunt. I framed it as concern for her well-being, not a complaint. Edward called the next day, mortified. "Mr. Brooks, I'm so sorry. My mother's been paranoid since Dad died, but it's a breakdown." He acknowledged the racial undertones, which meant he saw the truth clearly. "I'm intervening. She's a danger to herself." He planned to consult her doctor and a psychiatrist, using my evidence to justify an evaluation. "Would you speak to a social worker for context?" he asked. I agreed, wanting only peace. That Saturday, Edward and a professional arrived at Margaret's house. I didn't pry, but I saw her leave quietly, a small bag in hand, her defiance gone. Edward later confirmed she was in a Fairfax facility for cognitive and psychiatric care. Her house went up for sale, and Maple Lane breathed easier. Neighbors smiled again, and my garden thrived without scrutiny. Edward sent a $5,000 check, which I returned. My sanctuary was payment enough. Margaret's delusion wasn't defeated by vengeance, but by truth, delivered through her son, the one person she couldn't dismiss. Reality is stubborn, and her fantasy collapsed under its weight. I'm Henry Brooks, a man of structure and reason. Chaos doesn't win when you build a case so solid it crumbles on its own. What do you think? Have you faced injustice or harassment that tested your patience? Share your stories in the comments, especially about navigating violence or unfairness in your life. Take a stand, let's hear your perspective.